Hey guys, what's going on? So I want to do a behind the scenes series of videos to where I'm showing you guys like my mixing process and like why I chose certain sounds in our new single from KULE called Dream or Dreams, however you want to call it. Um, so yeah, I'm just gonna get right into it. Today we're gonna talk about drums and how with my drums, I guess I'll just give you a little disclaimer. These drums are programmed. I live in an apartment and it's just impossible to record drums here. I would literally get kicked out. So I have a drum library that is by Kurt Ballou, who is the guitar player for Converge, and he's also an amazing producer and mixer. It's by Room Sound. It was literally just the Kurt Ballou Signature Series drums right here. Here I have it opened up, and it has various different drums and cymbals and just a load of options for you. I decided to basically use shit. I've been using these for about a few years now, maybe 3 years now, and I would normally record drums with bands that I work with, and then just like sample these in, kind of blend in the samples because I love them so much, and it gives it like a real roomy, warm feeling. The tones of these drums are absolutely insane. So, I mean, I have it set up to how my setup is. I don't have a China anymore. I haven't used that. It's just kind of activated. But it has three different options here. It has a full mic bleed, humanizing the pitch, and humanizing the velocity. When I listened to Luke's initial demo, I had a vision to where the drums were just super tight. This wasn't like a roomy sounding garage band sounding project to me. It sounded like it needed to be fast paced, punchy, and kind of like straight to the point. So I'll just kind of give you guys a listen on what his demo sounded like initially. So this is the first demo of Dreams. I'll give you this section right here. All right, so that's just the first verse right there. Well, the first chorus, I should say. And what I do with that is I basically play the song over and over and over again, and I give myself a feel and like how I would play the drums. So I sit here and like air drum for like hours, and sometimes it doesn't take me hours. Sometimes it takes me like a half hour, 45 minutes, because I know where I want to go with the track, listening to it a few times. So the first thing I'll do is, as you can see, I have these little MIDI sections here. And then down here I have a WAV file. I'll get to that in a minute. So what I'll do is I already have this routed because the program right here, you have to route it out. So it goes to all these tracks over here on the left side, the 1.1.1, 1.1.2, and etc. So all these get outputted through here, and then I can manipulate each drum individually. So there's the kick. That's processed right now. But a really cool thing that I want to kind of add in here really quick is that there's a mixer on here. And the preset up here is this preset 07. It's all 0, multi-out. That just means that it was all the faders were at 0. There was no manipulation. There was nothing added to this. It's 17 tracks if you count 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 across the board. And you can individually manipulate it however the hell you want. So over here, there's bleed controls because regardless of whatever you're going to do with drums, you will always have bleed because there are multiple microphones and multiple different options for sound to get into another microphone. So with this, it's really cool because they have individual samples, and you can kind of just adjust the blend on how much of the kick, snare, toms, or cymbals you want in each respective category. So overheads, near rooms, and then the far rooms. I wanted this mix to be tight, so for the rooms, they're not up very loud, and then also I wanted the close mics to be more prevalent in these songs. So as you can see down here, I don't have much. Like these ones are pretty low, and these ones are pretty low as well. This one, the snare popped through because the overheads are pretty close, and it just gave it an attack that I wanted. Picking out the drums is just all personal choice. I just like the first one that they have. I'm trying to do this pretty quick because my computer is shit. I just did 50 minutes of something and it completely crashed on me. Yeah, here I have my external processing. I have a compressor, and then I have my equalizer, my EQ, and this one is just a stock. I use Mixcraft, which no one ever uses. I've just been using this since I was like 12. But so what I like my drums to be, I like my drums to have a lot of low end and punch, and not too much on the high end. I just like to have mostly like the attack on like the snare and like the toms maybe, and sometimes like the kick in this mix. I didn't go too hard on like the high end, but there's a whole sectioning that you need to do with EQing. My two main rules is knowing how to level drums and knowing how to EQ them, and a lot of it's just personal taste, but most of the time you know when something sounds good and when something doesn't. And that all starts off with really good sounding drums. So let me just play these drums for you really quick. I will play, I really like this section of the song. So I will play this section. I will solo this, loop this, and here we go. All right. So those drums, yeah, these are processed. I have compression, EQ, and that's about all I do to drums. Literally, that's it. And then everything else is just a leveling situation. And leveling most of the time will come after I get a feel of the whole mix. So I'm not really going to talk too much about leveling the drums because, shit, these things were recorded so well and put into this program to where you don't even have to do much leveling to them at all. They sound amazing all by themselves. I recommend you check out the Kurt Blue Signature Room Sound Pack. It's insane. So with the kick, I'll just play the kick individually. I wanted to emphasize around, I think 80 hertz, which is like it's like a sub frequency. Yep, right here. I wanted to roll off everything else because with EQing bass, bass takes up a lot of headroom, and headroom is just basically volume. Down here, if you look at this master fader, you want to leave yourself quite a bit of headroom. I think it's probably about 6 dB of headroom, if not maybe like 8. And that leaves a lot of room for like if you want to boost something, if you want to do some mastering, like mastering, you need a lot of headroom. I'll just backtrack a little bit. I do have my drum bus actually clipping, and that was because, like I said, I wanted it to be more of an attack tight sound. So with the kicks and the snares and even the tom hits, I wanted them to clip, and clipping adds distortion, which adds saturation, and I liked that sound. I like that sound a lot, so I kept it in there. When you go into that, it's just all just getting it to how you want it to sound. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Music is just open to interpretation and everything like that. Yeah, getting the snare sounds. I mean, yeah, it's processed as hell. I'll do it without the processing really quick. It's gonna pan to the left really quick, so don't mind that. You know what? I'll put it over here real quick. Sounds insane. Sounds insanely good. Better than any snare I could ever want, really. So adding processing is just saturation, compression, and emphasizing the dynamics and emphasizing the hit. Makes it a lot more snappy. And this snare drum is very top endy. Like I said, I want it to be punchy, so yep. Pretty cool. Let's go back up here. So with all of this, you know what? I'll talk about room sound. I'll talk about that really quick. So with the overheads in the rooms, I did nothing to them. I literally did not touch them at all over here. I did it on the mixer in the program itself beforehand, and that was about it. I got it to where I wanted to be, and I didn't want to have to worry about these at all. The less you have to do, the better. So with the overheads here, let's listen to these. So there's a lot of cymbals. You hear the toms a little bit, and you hear the snare, and the kick is very faintly in there. I knew that I wanted more of a direct hit sound, like I said. So emphasizing the close mic drums were more or less the mission I was going for. This was just for like cymbals, and a little bit of attack on the snare, just a little bit. The room, Not much in the room, I believe. More in the tom's sake. More emphasis on the toms. Because I think roomy toms are the coolest. But there wasn't much of it in here. More direct sound. And then here's the far rooms. Yep, just a lot of like just cymbal stuff. That's normally what it's for in this mix. If you wanted more of a warm, bigger sound, you would do more room sound. Blending that is a whole nother issue though. Or a whole nother thing you gotta explore yourself, I guess. A lot of it's just self-exploration. I don't know, what should I talk about here? Let's see. Yeah, like with compression and everything like that, it's just about like dynamic control. So with the kick drum and everything, it's just adding more to the dynamics actually from what I did, and it also like kind of levels it out at the same time. It's interesting how that works. But there's attack, release times, there's a ratio, and then there's a threshold. So the lower you pull the threshold down, the more gain reduction there will be, and more that the compressor is going to work. The attack is just how fast it will, the compressor will react to the signal. So this goes in milliseconds. I just kind of have it at like a medium-ish because it just sounded good to me. And with the release time, that's how long the compressor will hold on to that signal and keep, manipulating the signal. So with the kick drum being quick, the release time's a bit shorter. And then the attack here is already fast enough as it is. It was fine. That's the biggest thing about compression is just understanding like how it'll react to it. You kind of just have to understand the instrument as well. If it's an instrument that's all dynamics like drums, then it's just going to be quick attack times and quick release times. If you have like a bass guitar or like bass in general and you want it to be leveled out a lot more, and let's say you want less pick attack, you would do a slower attack and a slower release. And then if you want like more pick attack and then kind of keep it sustained, like I said, you do it faster attack because it would attack that dynamic quicker and it would hold on to the signal a lot longer. It all depends on what you want to do. I don't exactly understand these, but they all do something different. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I understand all this shit, but it all sounds different about how much the compressor will, I don't even know. It's like how hard the dynamic goes, I guess. It's interesting. I wish I knew, but I don't. Not gonna lie to you. I'm not a professional. And then with the EQ and stuff, it was just cutting out the mids because mids are very boxy. And I'll let you listen to that now. There's not a kick there. There we go. Yeah, it's just getting rid of kind of like that hollowness. And it just sounds a lot more tight, like I said. And essentially that's drums. The drum track, I'll explain this room track as well. I'll make this pretty quick. The room track, so there's this option on here called mix down to new audio track, and you do that, it takes MIDI and transfers it into an audio track, and I do my own processing on there. So I will loop this really quick and I will play it without the processing. It'll have the bus processing on there, but that's just EQ and an SSL compressor. And SSL is a really cool board that is emulated through Waves. All right, here we go. Anyway. So my mission here was to make it sound like it was in a big room and also level out the dynamics so like things weren't popping out too much as well. So that's where my compression comes in. I will show you that in a second. So our verb is a Waves thing and it's sick. I love Waves. And I just go in here and you kind of just mess around with how long, basically the size. You can do the wet dry mix, and then there's also like a reverb EQ as to that just manipulates the sound in general. With the room being more mid range and low range, I cut out a lot of the highs. So here it is with the reverb on it. So there's that. So the dynamics were still kind of like out there for me, and you kind of figure this out as you're mixing and everything like that. And then you also can have like personal taste on how you want it. Like I said, it's all up to interpretation. Anyway, so I'll put a compressor on here, and to basically with the compression, like I said, the drums are a very quickly acting instrument, so the attack time's pretty quick, and the release time is fairly quick. So it just evens out the dynamics to where nothing's really popping out too much. I'm pretty sure the snare is the thing that pops out the most in here. Just watch the fader over here. You'll see what I mean by that. You'll see how they're all kind of in a relative spot. Nothing's too crazy. Then it just kind of comes with EQing it. And as you can see, that's a lot different. So I took off a lot of that high end. I can tell already. I emphasized the mid-range. Took out about 250 probably, which is a very just boomy sounding frequency. A lot of the low end's just gone because right here is just a drum and bass part. And I just wanted like the mid-range to pop out so it'd be a little bit more warm. And the top end from everything is already kind of cutting through. So yeah, just kind of playing around with it. Yeah, so there's that. One of my biggest like things about that though is, well, one of my favorite things about it is like when you have a track, like let's say it's doing this. It just cuts out and goes mono, which is really, really cool. I like doing that where I'll have something cut to mono and then go back to stereo. So the song will just basically get that energy back into the next section, and it'll be a lot bigger and a lot more impactful. So that's just another thing that I like to do, I guess. So yeah, that's the drums. That's about as much as I can explain right now because my computer is going to blow up. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys want, any further details on anything, feel free to ask. If you care to watch, if you care to ask, please ask, because this is my first time doing this and I don't know if I explained it well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video again. I hope you guys enjoy the single if you have listened. If not, feel free to go over to the Bandcamp. Just look up KULE from Madison, Wisconsin, of course, and then you can go to the Facebook page, and then we also have Spotify as well. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm probably going to explain guitars in the next video. There's a lot of guitars on this track, and I would like to kind of cover that as well. See ya.